Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel, and today we're going to build this, the Groovesizer Mynah sampler. Of course, this is only the enclosure, so if you want to see what this is and how it sounds, please join me in the next minutes in this video. Here we go. The Mynah is the brainchild of Jean-Michel, better known as Mo Shang, who ships these samplers from Taiwan. The first batch of DIY kits costs $85, later runs will go up to around $110 to $115. This is a 6-voice 32 kHz sampler built around an ESP32S3 MPU. The kit arrives in a small parcel. I received both for this video, but normally you choose between a red or black enclosure. The build takes roughly 6 hours. It's straightforward through-hole soldering, but you should have basic soldering experience. Besides a fine-tip iron, you'll need pliers and optionally some painter's tape. As tradition demands, I'll guide you through the entire build here. I'll keep the footage fast, but remember, YouTube has a pause button and the video is 4K, so you can zoom in anytime. The PCB is clearly labeled, so placement and orientation are easy to follow. Start with the potentiometer. It goes on the LED side of the board. As always, solder one leg first, check alignment, adjust if needed, then solder the rest. Next is the 1 nanofarad capacitor marked 102. It's non-polarized, so orientation doesn't matter. Flip the board and trim the leads and wear eye protection. Now solder the audio and MIDI jacks on the left and right edges. Painter's tape helps hold them in place while you solder from the opposite side. The ADC comes next. You'll need 2 6-pin and 1 3-pin header, which you create by cutting the longer strips. Insert the headers with the long legs facing down. Place the ADC on top, solder the ADC first, then its connection to the main board. Tape helps here too. Trim the excess. Solder the OLED display using the same technique. Make sure it sits perfectly flush, for this part touches the enclosure, so alignment matters. Again, 1 pin first, check the angle, then commit. Next are the DAC and SD modules. They also need to sit flush to avoid stressing the enclosure. Attach the amplifier module. This step is straightforward. Now the resistors. If color codes aren't your thing, I'll link a small tool in the description that identifies them automatically. R6 and R15 are 220 ohm. R14 is the 4.7 kilo ohm. R1 and R2 are 47 ohm, R3 is 33 kilo ohms, and finally R4 is 82 kilo ohms. Then the 100 nanofarad capacitors marked 104. They're non-polarized and go into C2, C3, C4 and C17. Next are the diodes. They have a black stripe that must match the PCB marking. The small diode goes on the right side and the larger gray one sits right under the amp module. Install the optocoupler IC. It has a small dot that must face upwards toward the LED panel. Microphone goes next. Align it with the microphone icon. This should face away from the LED panel. Now the shift register ICs. Align their notches with the PCB markings. The resistor networks have tiny dots indicating pin 1. That dot must align with the square pad on the PCB. The 2 small slide switches and the large one are easy. Tape them in place and ensure they sit flush. Now for the tactile switches. This is the most tedious part. There are 24 of them and they must be perfectly aligned to fit the enclosure. Insert all switches first, then push on the plastic caps. The bottom left and right switches get the yellow caps. Place the upper half of the enclosure over the PCB and carefully set the board. The 3D printed shell can crack, so take your time. Make sure all the buttons poke through correctly. Flip the unit onto makeshift supports and solder each switch. One leg first, check the alignment, then finish the remaining legs. Remove the PCB again. Solder the power module, then attach the battery holder. The PCB labels clearly show where red and black wires go.
Finally, solder the speaker to the amp module. Red is positive, brown or black is negative. Tape the speaker in place. Then insert the battery compartment. It only fits one way. Remove the 4 corner screws, place the white LED diffuser on the array, then reinstall the PCB and secure it. Close the enclosure with the remaining screws. Make sure not to pinch any wires. And congratulations, your Mynah build is now complete.
Okay, so this is the Groovesizer Mynah, finally finished. Let's turn it on by plugging in USB. You can see we've got a screen here, we've got this panel of 16 status LEDs, and we've got input keys for the sequencer and 2 function keys here, which are the ones with the yellow cap. Okay, now we can just press play and listen to this 4 to the floor beat. And we can select instruments with these keys down here. So for example, if I wanted to play a snare or to place a snare here in the sequence, press 2 and then just hit those keys here, and then we have this. Same goes for a hi-hat. So let's use this. Let's listen. Okay, some other drum fills. Okay, I think you got the principle. Let's load a song. You can also use this as a function key. Hold it down, then for example press the 3rd button to go into bank select mode, and you can see indicated by the green light here that on bank 16 there's data. So release the play key, press key number 16 and hold this again, go to number 2, and now let's select a song, for example the 2nd one, and now finally we can choose a pattern to play. So let's use the 1st one here. So if I press A1 again, it will load this song and this pattern. It will prepare this song, and now I can start jamming. I can press play and it will start playing the first sequence, and if I choose another sequence or pattern while this is playing, it will play the current pattern to the end and then start playing the next one, as you probably expected it. Let's do this. Okay, you already can hear there are effects, reverb, delay, things, stereo panning. Let's take a look at the details. Okay, but now let's sample something. We have 2 options here. We can use the internal microphone or we can use the audio input. There's a switch here to select one of those. And I've added batteries to this machine, so I can now safely go downstairs into my kitchen and capture the sound of moving my chair around. Here we go. And this is super easy. Just hold down the 2 yellow buttons and then a 4-second countdown begins, and then you can start sampling. And once you're done, just press one of the buttons and the machine will stop sampling. I'm back upstairs again. Here is a sample. And now you can use this function button here and perform some work on this sample. For example, you can change its pitch, you can fine-tune it, you can make it velocity sensitive, you can pan it around, you can add some delay. You can add some reverb. You can change the volume, you can edit sample start and end, and you can also crop the sample. You can add an LFO, you can select a slice, we'll take a look at that later maybe. And you can also change attack decay, sustain and release of the sample, and you can add a filter. I've connected my main keyboard to this sampler, and all you can do now is you can play with this sample on the keyboard. So let's do that. You can clearly hear the 32,000 kHz sampling rate there. Everything sounds a little bit grimy, grainy. But I like that sound, it reminds me of the 80s. By the way, please subscribe to this channel for more news on music technology and electronic music in general. Thank you very much. Okay, instead of explaining all the functions of this box, I'll just create a track now. If you're interested in more, please take a look at the online manual, which is linked in this video's description. So, first, a drum track. I want to load a sample, so press this button, and I'll tell you in the sample browser, release this button. Now I can browse the files either with the encoder or by holding down this button and then pressing plus and minus. We are searching for a bass drum here, there it is. And now press enter and assign a slot. There are up to 16 slots, which means you can use up to 16 different samples in one song. Here we go. Now I've loaded the bass drum, just place it here and listen to it. Now I want to add a hi-hat in between those bass drum notes. And now we're still in sample select mode here, so I can now hold down the steps and use this here to select another sample for that slot. Next track, let's add a bass. I've already preloaded some samples here, so let's search for the bass. There it is, and I will now just add the notes. Next track, let's add some chords. Let's add a piano sound. We can also adjust the volume and mix. This is how you can set up patterns. I'm going to add a vocal track. Now we have a problem, the vocal is cut off each time the pattern goes round. Let's go to the pattern screen and first save our track by holding down the button here, and then we'll make a copy of that by holding down the button here. And now we are in the editor for this pattern. We want to add some changes here. For example, we will use another chord here. We need to adjust the bass, so go to the bass track and select a different pitch and then just use the encoder to adjust the general pitch of this pattern. We have a problem with our vocal sample here. So we can adjust the sample start time of that vocal sample. You can see there's sample start available now. Release this button and then while the track is playing you can adjust sample start. Okay, and now we can go back to pattern select mode and just switch from one pattern to the next. I've prepared this in the upper row, so let's listen to this. the sample gets cut off when changing patterns. Don't know why that is. I have used sidechaining here, which is possible on the compressor page of the sampler. So we can choose the drive, the speed, and the sidechaining source. And there are other effects here, for example, bit crushing. You can arrange your patterns into a song using the song sequencer. So we have 16 steps to arrange patterns here. And then we have 8 containers. So we have 8 times 16 patterns we can arrange into a song. That should be enough space to create your own compositions. And as you've already seen, while the song is playing, you can apply live effects like filter, bit crusher, compressor, reverb, size, delay. I really advise you to take a look at the developer's webpage. As already said, $85 in the starting phase of this project, and later $115. I think compared to the Teenage Engineering Pocket Operator 33, this can do much more, obviously. The effects sound quite nice, actually. The sequencer is more powerful, and it's in roughly the same price range. So yeah, really one to consider, in my opinion. And that's it for today. The Groovesizer Mynah sampler, starting at $85 over on the developer's webpage. Links are in this video's description. As usual, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more technology news and strange and wonderful gadgets, or information on electronic music production in general, please subscribe to this channel. As usual, thanks for watching, and see you again next week. Bye bye!